What has been an explosive start in the trial of Sean Combs today, a former member of the musical group Danity Kane, is set to return to the stand to testify in the case. Against him, Dawn Richard testified Friday that she saw Combs attack his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura. In 2009, CNN's Karis Cannell is outside the court. That's what Dr. Richard just told. Packed courtroom and jaws dropped. She says Diddy locked the studio door kicked. Cassie, while she cried, then looked them in the eye and said, "Better. If you don't say a word, a threat, a warning." Wrap it in roses. This isn't music drama. This is psychological warfare. And after 10 years of silence, Dawn's finally done protecting monsters. Now the truth is out, and it might be what takes Diddy down. For good, Cassie attorney says the evidence they're about to present will change the way people see Diddy forever. Dawn's silence is over. The courtroom just became a battlefield. They have their notebooks in their hand. They're coming in. They're very alert, and I think this is one of those testimonies where you have no choice but to pay attention and almost be flabbergasted, obviously, at some of what you're hearing, because it's not only just insight into somebody's sex life, but the details are disturbing at times, especially during that prosecution testimony when we saw some of the alleged abuse, or we saw pictures of her after a beating of some kind, according to her. But the jurors are definitely paying attention, and I don't see anyone that's not keeping their focus on Cassie Venture. Also, I noticed them taking notes a lot of times, and the children as they were exiting court yesterday. Two of the girls were seen crying. How emotional have they been in court again? I cannot imagine if that was my father or somebody close to home up there, and having to hear details of their sex life. Those are young women. They lost their mother, one of them, the twins, so no one can probably quite understand what it is that they're going through. But I think that's something that you think about. On both sides, to look at Alex Fine, which is Cassie Ventura's husband, and think about him having to listen to all that's being said about the type of woman that Cassie Ventura was versus the person that's expecting, their third child together now. So whether it's Combs's family or Vento's family that's there to support her, her brother and her husband, Alex Fine, I think it's difficult on both sides seeing him taking notes. From the beginning, I see him put his glasses on. He gets very close to the screen when they're reading some of those text messages. So he's paying attention now. Ventura confirmed that she and Combs had conversations about Aswinger's lifestyle, but that the freak-offs, they were very different. Yeah, so he talked about this idea where I guess Combs wanted her to watch him have sex with another woman. She said that happened 2 or 3 times, but that he mentioned it frequently. Kim Porter came up today in testimony. What was the significance there? The defense said early on that this case would be about infidelity, love, and jealousy. And this is where they brought that up today. When they brought up Kim Porter's name, she asked the defense, asked Cassie Venture, "Are you jealous, or were you jealous of Kim Porter?" And Ventura sort of contemplated, but did get to this moment where she said knowing that Combs spent holidays with his family, which meant with Porter, did bother her. And she admitted that they also pointed out that there was testimony where she talked about being insanely jealous overall as a girlfriend. So yeah, we're hearing the judge wants Cassie off the stand. Tomorrow, will the prosecution and defense get equal time? Yeah, as long as there aren't any additional motions. I think that is the goal, to have her off the stand by tomorrow. Why do you think that? What's the reasoning behind wanting her off the stand tomorrow in the very beginning? Rachel, they told us that she would likely be on that stand 2 to 3 days. So but what happened inside? That courtroom wasn't just shocking, it set the entire industry on fire while fans were still processing Dawn's words. The legal world and the media exploded, with whispers, objections, and desperate cover-ups back in court this week. The second big testimony that people or the teams are looking forward to going against, is Dawn Richard now. Dawn Richard started to testify previously. Dawn Richards. There's an argument about how you say the last name it Richards Rashard Dawn, formerly of Danity Kane, and of what was the three persons group? Dirty Money, I guess. If you're feeling casual or formal. If you're feeling casual, it's Richard. If you're feeling formal, it's... I don't know, but Dawn is on that stand. She came on the stand after test. Cassie finished her testimony. Something happened that night. Something Cassie never talked about until now. It started with music, but ended in fear. She says Diddy crossed a line. No unexpected silence threats, and then a gift like nothing happened. Even Charleston White loud, fearless, unfiltered. Sounds shaken. He just went live, and for once, even he doesn't know what to believe. 'Cause you had some good... I felt like you was saying what people want to say, but they're scared to say about the situation. Diddy situation, being arrested, the stuff is coming out about him, man. What do you think about that whole situation? I done got mad. I done got mad. What, my new man? What you mean? Oh, how can they go? Back, man, murder is the only thing that really has no statute of limitation. And when sources close to the case now say Dawn Richard holds explosive secrets that could destroy Diddy's entire legacy. Not just stories, proof private recording, hidden files, witness names. And suddenly, her name is everywhere. Twitter, newsrooms, boardrooms. All whispering. One thing, Dawn's about to end. Him courtroom. Security has been doubled. Diddy's legal team. Panicking because if what she's hiding goes public, this won't just be atrial. This will be a take-own testimony is expected to continue in the Sean Diddy, home, sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Later on this morning, the second week of this high-profile trial during the first several days, of course we heard that explosive testimony from Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Well, now we're hearing from the next witness. Her name is Dawn Richards. He will testify for the prosecution in just about an hour from now. Now Dawn Richard, a former cast member on Comamez's MTV reality show, Making the Band, and a member of Diddy's Dirty Money group. A former member she last testified last week that in 2009, Comez beat Ventura and dragged her upstairs by her hair. She said at the time she then heard glass shattering and Ventura screaming. Cassie Ventura, 9 months, pregnant, and silent for years, walked into that courtroom like she was carrying not just a child, but the truth. And when she took the stand, the world stopped. Breathing, she didn't cry, she didn't shake. She looked directly at the jury and said 7 words that detonated the internet. He turned me into a sex object. Not he cheated. Not he yelled no. She said Diddy the mogul, the media darling, the man behind the music pimped her out during the first week of their relationship. And that was just the start, according to court documents and insider reports that have since leaked faster than a cracked faucet. Cassie's testimony described nights of forced silence, gifts, wrapped in guilt and contracts, signed under duress, 5-star hotels, locked studio rooms, surveillance blackouts, and in every version of the story, Diddy was in control. Cassie Ventura on the witness stand for a 4th day in the federal criminal trial against hip-hop. Mogul Sean Diddy Combs, the defense continuing cross-examination this morning, confronting her with dozens of her own messages. Any explicit hoping to convince the jury she was an eager sexual partner who matched Combs' desires. I'm always ready to freak off. One message said she was into the freak-offs herself and was like a willing participant and was into all the freaky stuff. And essentially, that was the crux of what they were trying to do yesterday. And do you think they proved that or not? I mean, there's texts like that from 2009. I'm always ready to freak off. There was some other text where she was referencing, like, hitting him up about the FOs is what they were referring to. Him to me, like, yes, this doesn't look good. But at the same time, I think the timeline is crucial here. And these are texts from 2009, man. That was when they were first getting in their relationship. She was young, obviously. They were in the honeymoon stage, and she was stoked to, like, oh my God, I'm with Diddy. I'm living this lavish lifestyle, of course. She's going to be saying things that she knows will curry favor with him to keep. But what truly rattled the courtroom wasn't just the allegations, it was Diddy's reaction. The second Cassie uttered the phrase, "He told me if I left, I'd disappear." Nay, Themagul reportedly slammed his hand on the defense table, shouted something his mic couldn't catch, and was immediately calmed by two attorneys and a whispered threat of contempt. One insider claims. The judge even looked shaken. I've never seen someone lose composure like that. In a federal case, they said it wasn't anger. It was fear, and now the media is on fire. Cassie detailed incidents spanning over a decade, trips to Paris that ended in isolation, brand deals signed, while drugged, and multiple witnesses, stylist, backup dancers, even a former assistant who allegedly knew but said nothing. One especially disturbing moment. She described a night in 2012 when she tried to leave a hotel after a disagreement, according to Cassie. Diddy grabbed her phone, smashed it, and locked her inside the room for 6 hours. When he finally opened the door, he was holding roses. You know how scary it is to be handed flowers by the same man who just screamed at you for trying to leave. Cassie reportedly said in court, "That's not love, that's control." Social media has since dubbed the move emotional warfare in designer packaging. Diddy's legal team has been endoing backflips trying to discredit Cassie. They've called her testimony, a script written for sympathy, timed PR sabotage, and even went as far as suggesting she's being coached by outside forces. But the public isn't buying it. Not when former bad boy employees started hinting on anonymous accounts that Cassie wasn't the only one, not when old videos of Diddy at industry parties resurfaced showing disturbing behavior that seemed off, even then, and not when rumors start leaking that Cassie kept physical evidence all these years, including burner phones, encrypted backups, and even screenshots of NDA clauses. Diddy allegedly forced her to sign day 4 of Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking. And racketeering trial got intense in a hurry, as Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura faced a blistering cross-examination with defense lawyers using old love texts and steamy messages to challenge her claims of horrifying abuse. Diddy allegedly forced her to sign within 48 hours of Cassie's testimony. Diddy's liquor sponsors went silent. His fashion collabs suspended a media deal he had lined up for a docuseries on hip-hop. Excellence was mysteriously pulled, and the memes started pouring in. He said, take that. But she took it all to court, bad boy for life. Not if the feds get there first, but this isn't just a PR crisis. This is the slow collapse of an empire. Multiple insiders have told gossip outlets that Diddy's home staff has been cut, and his inner circle is shrinking by the hour. One former producer was quoted saying he thought he could outsmart everyone, but he never planned for Cassie to be the one to take him down. One of the biggest bombshells in Cassie's testimony was her claim that Diddy used guilt cycles to maintain power. She'd get verbally attacked one night, And the next morning there'd be a Birkin bag waiting by the bed. One fight ended with Cassie allegedly being left alone in a foreign city, and 2 days later a private jet arrived, with handwritten lyrics in a note that read, "The other things that the Diddy's team tried to do was show how they had breaks, and she was with Michael B. Jordan and was with Kid Cudi for a minute. But during that time period, she was still having freak-offs with Diddy, and I think that was them trying to show. This wasn't a controlling thing here. She was, hooking up with other people. She just was into the freak-offs. I kind of buy that, to be honest. So, she is out of the freak-offs then. She is when she's with Kid Cudi. Or, allegedly with Michael B. Jordan. She's kind of out of the freak-offs, if she wants to be. So why do you keep going back? I know it's kind of like a mental, she still loves. Diddy was jealous about. Oh yeah, because that was another thing that the prosecutors were trying to do, is show that they had a very jealous relationship. She would get jealous when he's with Kid Cudi. Also, Kim Porter. Cassie would be jealous of Kim Porter trying to show that, Cassie, you were in love with this guy. That's why you were jealous, right? So, this was a real relationship. It was just interesting to see Chris Brown. I mean, he's always coming up somewhere. Dude, Chris Brown. All right. Final story of the week. Final story of the week. Justin Bieber is not a victim of Diddy-so. This was one of those, rumors or whatever that was flying around in the months leading up to the trial. And to be honest, there was quite a few rumors flying around, ways their minors involved, says, if no other celebrity was part of freak-offs, why are they in hiding? Are they in hiding? Though I don't think they're in hiding. I just think other celebrities didn't want to insert themselves. No. One wants to be tied to Diddy, one way or the other. Even if you're at a white party, just having a lot of fun at, one of Did's white party, you don't want it to be linked in any way. No. And that's why, all those people, there's a few people, I think, that have come forward and been I didn't see any of this freak-off stuff. We're talking about photos, voicemails, and even location pings that put Diddy in places he denied ever being. If those leaks are verified, this won't just shake his brand. This could put him behind bars. But let's rewind, because the real question on everyone's mind is why now? Why is Cassie speaking out after so many years of silence? Why just months before her due date is she willing to risk everything? Privacy, peace, and public scrutiny to bring this to light. Well, one source claims that Cassie was triggered by a recent business deal. Diddy was about to sign a major Hollywood producer allegedly approached Diddy to produce a miniseries about redemption and resilience. Yeah, you heard that right. Diddy resilience and Cassie, she couldn't stay quiet any longer. According to people close to the situation, Cassie waited for Diddy to go live with his announcement and then filed her civil suit within 48 hours. It was strategic, brutal, precise, and most importantly, worked within days. Sponsors pulled out. Streaming services began reviewing, partnerships and major networks scrubbed Diddy's name from upcoming projects. Even his revolted TV connections suddenly turned silent. One staff Bear anonymously said he walked around like agate for years. But now you can feel it. The fear the fall. If you thought Diddy was going to take this quietly, think again. Sources say his team is now exploring defamation, countersuits, claiming Cassie's entire story is emotionally manipulated, fiction crafted to destroy his legacy before a massive financial deal. And here's where it gets even messier. Diddy's legal camp is alleging that Cassie's pregnancy is being used for public sympathy, saying she timed the lawsuit to gain emotional leverage in the press. The backlash to that claim, nuclear public response was swift and vicious. One headline read, "Billionaire blames pregnant survivor. How low will Diddy go?" Fans are turning former collaborators, are distancing themselves, and suddenly every quote Diddy ever gave about protecting women is being pulled out, dissected, and memed into oblivion. Remember when he said, "I empower my queens"? Yeah, the internet does too. Right next to screenshots of Cassie's legal testimony. Diddy spent decades curating an image. The mogul, the motivator, the master of reinvention, from Bad Boy Records to fashion brands to Kirk Vodka. He sold himself as untouchable. But now the narrative is cracking, old footage is resurfacing. Grainy clips from tour buses, after parties, moments people shrugged off then, but now look like warnings, hand gesture, stone changes glances from Cassie that no longer look like love, but fear won. Body language expert even did a viral breakdown of their 2013 red carpet interaction, pointing out micro-expressions and avoidance signs. Her smile was tight, her shoulders turned inward. That wasn't affection. That was anxiety, she explained, and just like that, the public perception flipped. People who once said they were couple goals now ask, how did we not see it? The truth is, maybe we did, we just didn't want to believe it. And then came the anonymous leaks, former security guard, sex housekeepers even, former driver, all coming forward through intermediaries, claiming that Cassie wasn't alone, and that many nights ended with bruises, broken glass, and forced NDAs. One chilling detail, a stylist recalled finding blood on a Balenciaga dress, and when asked, "What happened?" Cassie whispered, "It's not my blood." Thestalist said she never worked for them. Again, another insider claims Diddy had a mood playlist he'd blast in the penthouse. Before arguments, a carefully curated sequence of intense haunting music that set the tone for control. It's giving creepy, it's giving cult-like. And now the FBI is reportedly reviewing allegations for a possible federal investigation. That's right, it may not stay a civil matter much longer. This just went from celebrity scandal to a national headline.